Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom. Thank you for joining me. A few moments ago, my dog Duchess was out here, but she ran inside when the raindrops started coming. And actually I'm kind of standing underneath the pitch of my roof, so it's not hitting me so bad that I, can't focus on what I want to say. But anyway, you guys get a nice shot of my wife's ice. It's doing really well considering it's a California car. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I guess these cars are made to function in all 50 states, so there you have it. I thought I would just come on here to let you know that I have not, unfortunately, heard anything back from the dealership about my Bolt EUV that was supposed to be coming up from Georgia, I think this week. I mean, that's what it kind of sounded like to me, because last week I was told on Monday that it was there and that it would be a week or two. So I guess we're 10 days in. So I'll give them till next Monday to sort that out before I harass them. But I was hoping that by some, holiday magic, that car would be up here in South Carolina. But it's not. Well, one of the things, since I am standing in the garage, I know you guys already saw the video that I uploaded about this garage. I think it was yesterday. Still waiting for Amazon to deliver, all the storage stuff that I'm going to mount. I haven't decided if it's going above the door or kind of off to the side, but I got a whole bunch of storage for that it'll basically be like this, because that's actually been working out really well, and it's holding our 3 Halloween boxes with decorations in them quite well. You may or may not have noticed behind me, there's a big open space right here. Well, the washer and dryer from California sold yesterday, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. I listed them on Facebook Marketplace. Actually, they've been listed for 5 months since we got here. And yesterday, out of all times, after I recorded that video where I talked about them, they ended up getting sold to a family that came down last night to pick them up. So kudos to that. I have space. Now there's a opportunity to do something with all of this and potentially move this. But I'll be able to get that car in this spot right here. At least that's the thought. Probably pull it in slightly on a diagonal, and may or may not have to move that refrigerator. I don't know, maybe over there or in that corner. But anyway, this video is not about this garage. It's kind of about, everything that's kind of been happening. So a few months ago, I shot a video. God, was it a few months ago? Yeah, I guess it was a few months ago now, where we actually went through and replaced both of our air conditioners. So this is for the main first floor of the house, and then the upstairs is actually heated and cooled by this guy back here. It's actually the same model, or same make and model, just different version. That one is what's called a gas pack. Ooh, I just sunk into the ground. Great, another pair of shoes wet. It is what it is. So both of these units are made by a company called Air Temp. I don't know anything about them. I haven't really done much research, but suffice it to say, this one is a heat pump. It essentially has a reverser valve that reverses the flow of the refrigerant inside, so it essentially allows warm refrigerant to travel up to the air handler that's up in the attic, and the cold refrigerant to come out. And it's essentially a reverse cycle air conditioner. Works really well. It also has auxiliary heat, where in the ductwork there are some heating elements. So if it's too cold out here and it can't deliver enough warm refrigerant upstairs, it'll actually turn on the heating elements that are inside the ductwork, and it heats it up pretty good. I've also been told that heat pumps are not very efficient, but I feel the need, and actually this is the reason why I wanted to mention this, that between this one, which, by the way, this one's a gas pack, so they call it that because it's a gas package unit. It's this box right here, and then there's nothing else. There's just ductwork inside the house. So the air handler, the heater, and the air conditioner are all three are inside this package. Now, for those who are keen on air conditioning installs, you'll see that there's some crappy cabling and wiring that was done. Even the thermostat cable is just hanging out, getting wet. The reason for that is, excuse me, we couldn't get the whips and the cable for the thermostat in time for that install. And last week, the AC company was going to come out and fix that. They were also going to crawl underneath the house and make sure all the ducts and boots were wrapped with tape and all that stuff. But when we put all this stuff in, it essentially was a job that was done to about 95% completion on this side. The other one's completely done because it's all just refrigeration lines that were already existed, and the thermostat wire was in much better shape as this one is. So all of this stuff's going to get redone hopefully this coming weekend, so before the holidays. I will tell you, this thing heats this whole space all the way to our bedroom, which is on the far side, all the way to the front here in about 6 minutes. It'll raise it up 5 degrees. This thing is 90,000 BTU. It's slightly less than what the old one was. The old one was 100,000 BTUs. And because it had a cracked heat exchanger, it wasn't really doing much of anything except letting carbon monoxide into the house from the burning gas. So we had to really be careful with it once we found out that it was, a dangerous appliance, and we didn't really use the heat much anymore after that. And before then, it was still warm enough to not have to use the heat. But we're essentially heating from this wall all the way around the corner to the back deck where our bedroom is, and this whole downstairs will heat in a matter of minutes. It is really nice to know that this thing comes on for about 30 seconds, preheats this whole assembly, and then when the air handler kicks on and drives the heat inside, you can feel it coming on. Like, you can feel like, oh, my hands are cold, and then all of a sudden, oh God, it's so hot in here, and you're taking your sweatshirt off. So this guy really works wonders. I was looking at the label here, these energy guide labels for cooling and the packaged furnace, and they give you these SEER ratings, and I think the minimum for this area is 14 and the highest is 20. I don't know what the scale is, but least efficient, most efficient, and this guy's rated at 14, so supposedly less efficient. Also, the efficiency rating, the AFUE rating, whatever that is, starts at 81 and goes to 95. So you can see here, both of these are marked as least efficient. But I will tell you this, maybe the efficiency is rated over time, because I will tell you that my utility bill has dropped by 52% since we replaced the old gas package here, and the heat pump that's back there. I can't explain how they do these energy guide thing. I don't really care to know, but I will tell you that this guy is impressively much more efficient, at least with what we've seen over the last few weeks, especially since it's gotten cold. I tell you, this thing heats in minutes. The whole house, it stays warm. And if I had to guess, I would say this thing probably comes on 6 to 8 times a day. I mean, it's been 28, 29 degrees here in the mornings, and it's not coming on because through the night, the house kept the temperature at 71 degrees, which for me is right on. Anything above 71, and I seem to get headaches when I'm sleeping. So kudos to Air Temp for this this unit. We're actually really happy with it. It cools great too. Supposedly least efficient, but it'll cool this house in a matter of minutes. I think the air conditioner, when it was still warm, when it was still in the 80s and 90s out here, shortly after we installed it, it would kick on for a few minutes and then kick off for, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, then kick back on for a few minutes and then kick back off. So there's something to be said about how they measure the efficiency on those things. And I think it's just like they turn them on and they watch the meter spin. I don't know. Same with this guy. I actually haven't looked at the efficiency. So I'm over here by this guy. Oh, unfortunately, that efficiency sticker is in the back. So let's see if we can get in here. Okay. So you can see that this one doesn't look too happy either. I can't quite read it, but I'm pretty sure it's on the lower end. Maybe I'll take a picture of that later and kind of analyze it a little bit more. But being that this unit is only heating and cooling this room, the one that's white with the white siding all around, and actually it doesn't even come all the way out because that round window is actually on the top of the stairs. So figure 6 feet over. Imagine there's another wall right there. That's the room. And then there's a bathroom in there, a closet. So it's not that big of a space. It might be, I don't know, what is that? 20 feet by, it might be a 20 by 20. So it might be 400, 500 square feet. The unit runs, first of all, it's silent. That guy is quiet, much more quiet than the last one was. The last one vibrated the house. You could actually hear the flow of refrigerant through the lines in the walls in the last one. So I feel like there was something really wrong with it. Maybe there was a leak or something. But this one, silent as can be. We don't wake up, in the middle of the night. And it's kind of, it's really nice. And like I said, it keeps the room between 67 and 71 degrees since we turned it on. And again, the utility bill that I received yesterday was literally 48% that of what it was the month before, which, mind you, I don't think much has changed because instead of cooling, we're heating. So now we've added another utility, which is gas. So this guy heats with gas. This one's electric, so they're both using the same amount of power. Maybe that one doesn't use the compressor, but instead it's using gas. And we're also, because it's darker out here, we're using more lights. And I don't know, I feel like it sort of balances out. So even if we are using a little bit less power, and let's say there was a 40% utility drop, I think over a year, actually 14 or 15 months, we would have made our money back on both of these units just in terms of saving utilities. Now, I've gotten some comments. Actually, did you hear that kick on? I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it kicked on and then I heard the reversing valve slide over. So now it's heating, but it's on. Not that bad. What I was saying was that in the comments, wait, was it a comment? It may have been an email, so forgive me. I'm a little beside myself these last few days. But there was a question on whether I would do solar here. For now, the answer is no. That doesn't mean down the line, if there's a program or a rebate or something the feds do that entitles us for solar, that we may consider it. But for right now, if I had to pay for out of pocket, first of all, it wouldn't be as large as the California install was, because that one had 27 panels, battery on the side of the house, and the full system. And that one was very expensive. It was close to $60,000, the whole install. I would probably never do something like that again. I think for me, I was just trying to do the right thing, and I got bit by it really badly. Now, two things worth mentioning. That's east. That's west. Sun sets somewhere over there in the wintertime, and then more in line with these power lines in the summertime. So I would need to figure out if this roof, being that it faces north and south, would qualify. Now, I do have this roof here that faces more this way, but I think it would have to be between that roof and the opposite pitch on the other side that would hold panels if I decided to do it. And if I did, I might do something like, I don't know, maybe 10 panels. And even then, the only thing that would do was get me into another financing situation where I would just be offsetting whatever this is using. Oh, and whatever the EV will pull when I start parking it out here and charging it. So, I don't know. It's a conversation that will probably have to be held, and we really have to see what spring is like over the next year or so to decide. Because when we got here on Father's Day, there weren't too many days that were horrendous, if you will, in terms of weather. It was muggy, but it was totally livable. And even with the old units, we were still, our utilities were somewhere between $400 and $475 a month. And that's all the utilities: garbage, sewer, electricity, water, and I think that's it. They're all kind of rolled into one utility bill that's provided to us by the city. And I honestly think that it might just not be worth it, because you guys have to remember that the reason I got solar in the old house was because not only was I paying, my mortgage was almost 4 times what this house is. This house is twice the size of the old house. In terms of square feet, this one's almost twice the size. Paying utilities for a house that's smaller in California with a mortgage that's 400% what this one is, and a utility bill that's approaching $1,000. And then you have to factor in, insurance. If you have a home warranty, you have to factor that in. We don't have home warranties for various reasons. And then on top of that, over there, everything is separated in terms of utilities. Here you have one set of taxes that cover your entire utility bill. There you have, 4 providers that will stick you with each their own tax. So the taxes alone were equal to what this one bill is for each utility. So I'm kind of over it. Wait, did I say that right? One utilities tax was equal to what the entire month's usage is here. There, that's right. So this guy just kicked on. I don't know if you hear it. The gas is flowing. It's preheating. I'll actually stand next to it, so. Not too bad. That's just the gas flowing right now. But since I've been out here, this thing has been off. Oh, the fan just came on. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Got some steam. works really well, I think. But anyway, so there's really a lot to talk about when it comes to living in this area, and unfortunately a lot of questions for this area I don't have the answers to because we're still relatively new. All we have is 5 months in the bank. In California, I lived there when we left, I was there for 18 years almost. So I had a rough idea as to what the climate was all over Los Angeles, because I lived in the San Fernando Valley, I lived in Burbank, I lived in Santa Clarita, I lived in Canyon Country, which is the east end of Santa Clarita. Then I lived in Valencia at the end, which is kind of the middle / northwestern part of that V shape that is made up of the 5 and the 14 freeways towards the northern part of the 5 by Castaic. I kind of knew what to expect wherever we decided to move. So when we moved to Valencia and we bought that house, it was our first house. The utility bills were a very, very gross sticker shock for us because of the fact that I think in the heat of the summer, I think we moved in September. So August, September, October in that house were anywhere between $700 and $1,100 a month just for power alone. And that is quite the bill when you're talking about a house that's just about 1,350 square feet or 60 square feet, whatever it was. Single story, full insulated walls, ceilings, attic space, everything was insulated, and it was just horrendously expensive. The air conditioner there came on, from what I understand, it came on when we turned the air conditioner on in March, and it was on probably until late fall, nonstop. That air conditioner could not keep up with the cooling requirements of that house, and it was always on. When it turned on, it was on for 24 hours a day, probably 6 or 7 months at a time, and it was just bad. And in the odd chance that you had a cloudy day with some rain, then it would take a break. So that's actually what sparked the AC, the HVAC replacement in that house, because it was horrendously expensive, and I'm sure a lot of that $1,000 a month went towards power. In fact, I know for a fact it did. Water was anywhere around $75 a month in that house. Gas was about, in the wintertime, gas was probably about $120 a month. In the summertime, it was $30, $40 a month. When we got the solar in that house, the power went into the negatives. In fact, when we moved here about a month ago, I received a check from Southern California Edison for the overgeneration of what the house was generating while we were gone. After we moved out, the house was still generating power, and it was feeding the grid. It was feeding the grid. And what was nice about it is there was nothing consuming power inside the house, except for when the realtors would come in the morning of a open house or whatever, and they'd turn the air on just to get the temperature, from 90 some odd degrees inside to, maybe high 70s or whatever, make it comfortable. And the rest, they'd turn it off and walk away, and the house was just off. But it was still generating power because it was in the heat of summertime and there was plenty of sun in California. So in some ways, solar made sense there. Financially, it was rough. And I'm just afraid that I would get myself into a situation here where I would never, ever see a return on investment. And here's the reason why I say that. Even if I do get 4 to 8 to 10 panels, whatever, I don't know what the math would work out for this house at the moment. But even if we did scale it down and we went and said, okay, let's do small solar. We'll get the battery for the side of the house. We'll put it, right over here somewhere. And we'll tie it into the grid. We'll do the same thing. I just don't think that in the summer, there's enough days where the sky is just blue and beaming with sunlight. There are some days, but one of the things I noticed, especially this year, is, and some of the neighbors over here kind of confirmed the statements, where the weather is changing. The climate is changing all around here. The amount of rain that has been falling here in the summertime is, I wouldn't say unusually high, but it's higher than what in years past, like say 10 years ago, what they were getting. There were rains. Typically every month there's some accumulation of rain here, precipitation. But this year, it wasn't just every month that there was some rainfall, it was every week. Since we got here, every 7 to 10 days, we would get a day that was just like this. And it would be gray, and at this point, the solar panels would be producing watts, not even kilowatts. It would be watts. So, when you kind of think about it and you put that all kind of together, that's a lot of money you're putting into a solar farm that you'll probably never get a return on. Now, just to be clear, the area that we live in isn't rich. It's actually mostly retired people. And that's really what I wanted. I wanted peace. I wanted quiet. There's some families here. But I'm going to just turn you around 360. And you can see what the roofs look like. There's no solar. There's no solar anywhere. So that's just to give you kind of, the lowdown on this. So I think solar's kind of off the table. And here's the other point I'm going to make. If I notice that my utilities are drastically higher when there's an EUV parked right here, and I notice that it's drawing a lot more power, or I'm driving it a lot and I'm charging it, all the time or whatever, every night. If I notice that the bill is starting to show progressive increase, then I will be the first to consider a level 3 charger and just charge somewhere in town. Because using a level 2 or a level 3 charger when you're at a Walmart, or you're shopping, or you're at a rest stop or whatever, you're doing the things you normally do day to day, it's okay to spend $10, $11 to bring your battery from whatever state it is to, say, 90%, 80%. If I have little draw, like say my battery's at 70% and I'm just going to plug it in for the night just to top it off, then I'll do it here. But anything massive, I have the option to go into town, put a little bit of money in it and get it up, so that way it doesn't affect the performance of the utilities of my house. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that the car is going to show up, this week, next week, because it is a really, really big thing for me. And I really need, to be honest, I have to do something about this, because this is where the EUV will be. I still have to figure out what to do with this giant Smith machine. And then the RAV4 is going to sit in here. And judging by how steep angle this is, it might be on a diagonal, which will be fine, because then you can open the door. I wouldn't mind actually giving a little bit of a westerly diagonal towards the door and the stairs over there, if it meant that we could open the doors and have enough space in between the cars to open the doors fully, at least one car at a time. So there's that. I think that's about it. I don't have any other updates. Oh, there is one update. One more update, I should say. And it's not really an update. It's more of a task that I managed to accomplish yesterday. So any homes that are like this, that are 75 plus years of age, this one's 72. So let's say 70 plus years of age. Any of them that had a code or a remodel done to code, essentially. In our case, it would have been, I'm trying not to slide down this hill. There's a lot of mud and you can see like water tracks from the rains. But you can see that when our bedroom, so from here to the end, our master bedroom kind of goes over underneath the stairs that are underneath that window. So master shower is probably in line with that window. That window is above our tub. We have a tub, and then we have the master sink, the his and her side. Then we have the back door that goes to our deck, which we painted, by the way, before all this weather started happening. But if you look up here, there's a whirlybird. That whirlybird looks like it's been struck by lightning or something. It was so discombobulated and bent. And what I was saying is they put that in as part of a requirement to ventilate the attics. So there are holes punched out in the where the gutters are. Well, there's no gutters on this side because who cares? I'm probably going to end up putting gutters in, just letting it run out. But there is little miniature holes that you can see daylight through when it's sunny out. And one of the issues is that the older part of the house was grandfathered in, so it doesn't have a whirlybird. This part, being that it's new, has one. That one does not have one, but it's got a vent on the side right there. So it meets ventilation requirements. This one didn't have anything, so it was just sealed up, and all it had was the little holes along the side of where the gutters are, I don't know if that's called a soffit or what, but they had to put a whirlybird in. That whirlybird was so bad. It literally sounded like somebody laughing when it got going. So in the middle of the night, you're sleeping and all you hear is and that is a Freddy Krueger moment. So me, in my infinite 300-pound fear of heights wisdom, put a ladder, my 16-foot ladder that's now hanging in the garage, put it on this deck, got it up to the roof, put both of my hands on the roof, and my feet were literally right probably at the top of the door there. My heart got going, and I literally thought I was going to have a panic attack and die because this grass all around me started spinning in interesting circles. So my fear of heights was on 1,000 yesterday. So the original point of this was I had to figure out how to get to that whirlybird to, fix it, adjust it. And like right now it's spinning and it's not making any noise. But let me tell you what I had to do. So inside our master closet in our bedroom, which is right probably about where this pipe is coming out, this sewer vent, is right above my wife's side of the closet. In between that pipe and this white wall is a attic access panel. Now this house has 3 attics, right? So the one that's for the long side of the house, the one that's up here, and then there's the other one that's up there. The front and the top are easy enough to access because they're in the office closet, so it's easy enough to climb through. No ladders needed. And actually the attic for this part you need a ladder for, but the attic that goes along the whole front of the house, you don't need an attic. It's just a door. You just crawl in, kind of in the same, squat type position that I'm currently in. But on this side, not only are you getting in through a closet door that, let's just say, is not handicapped accessible, and you need to get a 16-foot ladder in there, And then you need to figure out how to get this massive monstrosity of a man up that ladder, through the skinny door, into the skinny access panel, all the way up into the attic. I made it. Somehow, I made it. Don't ask me how I got back out, because I think I have never sucked my gut in harder than when the anxiety kicked in of me potentially living the rest of my life out in that attic. But I had to get to this whirlybird from the inside, essentially, and lube it up. I put some dry grease in there so it wouldn't, be affected by moisture or water, and it wouldn't run down like WD-40 does. It's essentially like lithium spray, and it seems to actually be handling quite nice. It's spinning, it's doing its thing. But that was a scary feat. But I got in, I did my job. Oh, and as a bonus, I did not destroy the ceiling. Because in the old house, in some of the older videos when I was installing the access points in that old house, I managed to bend one of the beams, and it pushed the ceiling down and ultimately gave us a 22-inch crack along the ceiling in the hallway, which sucked. But we did fix it before we left. So anyway, I think that's it. I've kept you guys for over 35 minutes. And other than that, it is a beautiful pre-Thanksgiving day. I would still consider this fall, even though not too many leaves have fallen. I think most of them were probably blown away by whatever that tropical storm Nicole, or Hurricane Nicole, or whatever she was when she came through. We didn't get too much of it. I think this is just the butt end of whatever got left behind this rain. So anyway, kind of crazy. But as you can see, the heater's off. So I'm going to close this garage door so that the heat can stay inside. But that's about it, guys. If you're still here, if you decided to stick this out with me and listen to me yap, I can't thank you enough. I always appreciate you guys. You guys are always great. And I really appreciate all of you who've left lots of comments down below about the garage. I really appreciate that. That's really like, forcing me to get my butt moving in here. So I'm going to do a bunch of stuff in here this week, definitely over the weekend. And we're going to get the gardeners to come through and mow this down one more time before my garden tractor arrives, I think in January. It's being built in Japan. Go figure. And hopefully by the time it gets here, the grass will be nice and ready to mow down in the spring. So thank you guys so much. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please go down below, leave me your thoughts, leave me a like, please subscribe. And until next time, guys, goodness, I really appreciate you guys. Until next time, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.